Perfecto. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Fernanda Olmus. I am with the Pink Piano Inc. company. At Pink Piano, we specialize in inbound marketing strategies that empower organizations to elevate their brand presence and drive growth. And today, we have a very special guest with us. She's the founder of Pink Piano Inc. She will be sharing with us a little bit about her journey, a little bit about her insights, and she will be sharing with us Beyond Success, Discovering Your True Purpose. Hello, Diana. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for making the time and sharing with us.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes,
It's
of
a,
course.
it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I know that you have a little bit of a story for us today. I am very excited to hear about it. I do have some questions, and I would really love for you to answer them in the best possible way in an open mind. And remembering that we are here to share with our audience, to share with them about what does it really mean to find your success and to discover what is your true purpose in and not only your organization but in your overall life.
Yes, when you talk about this topic, it was so inspiring for me. And looking back and seeing even what success is and how it has changed, even for me, throughout my career, the real meaning of success. To start, I would like to start with a story that I've heard in many different places. So I cannot even point exactly the last place I heard it from, but it's a nice story that said, so there was a guy, an old farmer, and he was working in his crops for many years, and then one day his horse ran away. So when the neighbors heard the news, they all came back and rushed and said, "Oh my God, such bad luck! You must be so sad." And the farmer replied, "We'll see." And then the next morning, the horse came back, and it also brought two wild horses with him. Again, the neighbors found out and they came back and they said, "Oh, how wonderful. Not only you have your horse back, but also now you have two more. So what a great fortune you have." And to this, the farmer said, "We'll see." And then the following day, the son tried to ride one of the sometime or wild horses, and he fell, and by doing so he broke his leg. So again, everyone came and said, "Oh my God, it's so unfortunate that your son, he can't help you with the farming and now has a broken leg. So that's terrible luck." And the farmer again said, "We'll see." So maybe by now we're getting the story. Then the next week, military officials come by and they need to recruit young men to go into the army. And because his son had a broken leg, he's unable to, they passed him by, right? So now the neighbors came and give them congratulations of how lucky now he was, that you must be so happy they didn't take your son. And again, the man smiled and said, "We'll see." Beyond the more obvious consequence of this, of the story, that is that things can change and we cannot necessarily define them as positive or negative at one moment. Like everything can change and everything has both aspects of it. Like that is one obvious conclusion from the story that I really like. But for me, there's also a bigger one, that it's about, there are things you can change. And when you change the way you look at those things and you don't get hung up into what it means right now, you really go beyond. You really transcend whatever that means or whatever we can perceive. Like one of the things that I work with the most, for me, is to go beyond any illusions that might exist, understanding that the way that I perceive stuff is limited and biased. And I think all humans tend to be this way because it's how we are physically even capable of doing so. Does that make sense? So Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it does. First of all, thank you so much for sharing that story. I've heard it before, and every single time that I hear it, I really do love the way that it is explained, and at the same time, after 3 or 4 times that you hear the neighbors come and then they say, "Oh, what a bad luck," and then "What a good luck," you start to understand a little bit about that's the way that it will always be, right?
Mhm.
People will always tell you, "Oh, what a good luck, what a bad luck," but they actually do not know the overall reason why it's happening. And as you said, our very limited vision. There's many times that we feel like there's something that we're doing and it's the bigger picture, but we don't understand that there's a bigger picture even
Yeah.
beyond that, right? As you said, like beyond the success, as a little bit about the topic that we're going to talk about today. So yeah, so tell me a little bit, what does your limited vision usually says, and how did you change from understanding or from feeling that your limited way of seeing things wasn't the one, right? How do you go, how do you break that, I'm gonna say, like transparent line of understanding, like, oh, this is going beyond me?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know really when. I do think that it's a muscle that I have kept on growing. First of all, I would say that what I mentioned first, like for me, one of the things that really, particularly in marketing, and now even that at my current company, I am more in sales, I would say, and supporting from a specific business unit that we have there. I would say that what success, and I can see the world now and how many things with marketing are going, and what everyone is calling success. First of all, there are two different metrics of success, and not that one is, I think that they're just that, they're just different. It's not even competing against themselves, it's just different metrics of success. But I would say that limited belief, it's really, I would say it has come with age, and
Mhm.
it has a lot to do with humbleness. It sounds weird, but I think as you, or at least for me, as I grew, I know that there are so many things that I'm fortunate enough to be part of. And it doesn't mean that I don't do the effort. It doesn't mean that I don't study things that I want to study, or that that I work hard, or that I surround myself by people that I admire and learn from them and transform. But really, it's also about understanding that, letting go of the illusion of control. Like, this is what I talk a lot about, illusion. And there is one thing about control. If we look at the story, there are parts of it that, if the farmer would have been so attached to the outcome of things, he wouldn't have control. Like, he couldn't control the horse, right? Like, maybe he could have it to make it so that he's putting it in a place where he's secure, or things like that. But there are parts of it that you can't control. Like, you couldn't control necessarily that your son is not going to fold. You can't control that. There are many things that we can't control. So I think this is like the biggest thing that has to change. And I cannot say that it was in one specific moment. I think it was through different times and many mistakes, and many situations that I saw as failure, that really got me to think that there was something beyond.
Yeah. So you said that there were two metrics of success. Which one, what are the metrics of success? Is it something that you found out, or is something that you defined it by yourself? How do you define success?
Okay, how do I define success?
Yeah.
So it has different layers. And I will start with the first question that you ask about, how do I measure, and two measure of success, or two metrics. I would say, and it's one of the ones I wanted to talk about, that it's very relevant to marketing. And one of them is vanity metrics, what I call vanity metrics, and not me, just they're called vanity metrics. And what I mean by that is, and if I extrapolate this beyond marketing, I would say there are vanity metrics that you might even have based on your paycheck or the car that you drive, or like many things that if you think back to to your core, they're not necessarily the metric that would define success. Because you're right, like to your point, what is to be successful? And to be like, just to be clear, I do believe that success has many definitions as people in the world, and maybe even the people that, you know, that we have the ability to even think about what is fortune. Like everyone that it's not surviving and has the time to think about, okay, what is success, what does it mean for me? For you, it might be to grow fast and have, I don't know, the next role and the next role and the next role, as it was for me at some time, right? And then it might be more about financial security, or it might be more about the quality time I get to spend with my kids, or whatever that means. So success might be changing. Now, that being said, I do not think that necessarily all success needs to be like like not materialistic. I understand the material part, but how you do things, for me, how I do the things is very important. I ultimately believe that in everything that's a vanity metric, it's the metric that we give at times too much importance, like too much value to them. Let's say followers or likes, or, and even if you think about it from a revenue metric, that it's important because it's a health of a business. If you're not profitable, then you can't stay in business. And if you can't stay in business, then you can do whatever it is that you want to do and help the world. There's no way that you can do that. So it is connected, but there are some that might be indicators of something, but we shouldn't take them as the metric of success. There's people that if they're not, and this is like the entire point of beyond success, because let's say that you have a story to tell and that this story is so important, right? For example, what you guys want to do with marketing. One of the things that I really like about Pink Piano and how it started was, and that you keep on doing, I can see that like in everything you share, like this idea of we are all geniuses, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, he's gonna grow thinking he's stupid. Or so the intent.
And sorry for that one. I wanna talk about that special phrase that we say each other, because it really amazed me the other day. I was sharing it with someone, and then someone said, "Yeah, of course, the fish has to develop the ability to climb the tree." And I looked at them and I'm like, "Not truly. The fish is never gonna be able to climb the tree."
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's stupid. So that's here for me. It comes to a lot of things, because we talked about the layers and you talked about the layers, the way that you start building success. And first of all, the vanity metric that you already talked about, it is definitely a metric that we do measure, and it's a metric that is valuable, right? Like, and it's also valid for you to want that metric, for you to actually want to have it, and to in your mindset have that goal that you want to accomplish. But it should not stay there, because as you've been saying, what happens if the car tomorrow it just goes into shambles? Like, are you gonna feel like you never actually had success because of it? No, it goes beyond that, right? So for me, there's one about, if you are going to, how was it, if you're gonna judge a fish by the ability to climb a tree, it's gonna grow its whole life thinking that it's stupid. For me, that was very interesting when I was talking because it comes into my mind. Why do we always think that the success is going to be to climb a tree, right? And that's something that happens a lot, as we say, in the traditional side of success, right? We think that the successful path is, as you said, starting climbing from one role to another role, have recognition. You are going to travel a lot. You're going to have a lot of maybe, I don't know. I remember that some of my colleagues, they used to have these trophies as the marketing director, and then you start building your network, which is completely valuable, but that's not the only thing that you're building, right? You're building this type of mindset where it's going to help you not only in your professional life, but in your individual life. And then you're going to understand that life is not just one or other, it's both. It's the bigger picture of it. Yeah, that was very interesting. And what would be the ones that you consider that are not tangible? Like what is the other metric and how would you define it? And for you, what is it?
Yeah, so first I want to say something like what you said, that it's like very important. It's exactly that. That's the difference. Like, the person that might say he has to develop the ability and maybe, I don't know, have a bubble, a water bubble around them to be able to climb or whatever. The number one part of it is exactly what you said. Who says that climbing a tree is a success? Let's even start by forget about the ability or anyone else's ability. Is the definition that climbing the tree is the road to success? It might not be, right? And in this part, for example, from marketing, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. From the marketing role, I would say that, so one of the things that happened in the history is like marketing wasn't even considered as part of the equation in some of the companies that it was, since it's a different world or things like, there are times that it could be seen as not bringing the same to the table. So that's, and forget about marketing, any other role as well, and this could happen anywhere. That's point number one. Point number two is what you just said about if you don't do this or if you don't do that. Like, there are two scenarios for me that can indicate that a metric, it's vanity metric. And vanity metric is anything that is growing that could bring you more luck versus fuel your purpose. Everything that is external, from my perspective, it doesn't mean that you need to be oblivious of the outside, because we live in a world and we're part of a community and we're part of a society and all of that, of course. But it does have, you need to be the first kind of guiding system to that. It needs to make sense to you, because if it doesn't, then like, where is that coming from? It might be coming from lack. The risk of this stuff is, one, you might define you as a failure. Let's just to make it very simple, let's say that the metric that people get very excited about this, I want to be viral, and even like people as individuals and also companies, right? Like, they're saying we hit X amount of followers, or we did this, or we did that. That could be a vanity metric from the perspective that, what does that mean? If you're not like, that is not, the intent is not hitting X. And now, it doesn't mean that, like you said, it could be like a thermometer of different things. It could be a thermometer of if the topic is resonating or something like that. But if it goes deeper, like if what you have to say or what you want to share or what it's really moving you to do goes beyond, it cannot prevent you from going forward, right?
Of course.
Because there is then the other part that might happen. Like, this is one part that it could happen. But then what happened if, let's say, and a lot of marketeers talk about this, like, this is why a lot of people say you might have social media and you want to, you want to build your network, whatever, but also you need to create your list. You need to own your database, because what happens if LinkedIn stops existing tomorrow? Not that we see that, but what if they take away your data? What if you get hacked? What if, like, a lot of things that are outside your controls. My point in that, it's not really, I'm not saying that it's a solid statement or anything like that. What I'm saying is that it shouldn't be
Of course.
the goal.
Yeah. So, for example, right now we've been talking a little bit about the success, about the metrics, about both metrics that we've had, the one that are tangible, the vanity ones, sorry, the ones that are non-tangible and the vanity ones. So, as you would say, and from your own perspective, which is a road that many people take when it comes to defining success? And how would you compare it, which the one that you think it's the one that it's gonna help you go beyond?
Yeah. So for me, the success, and again, speaking about it in a, let's say, a business scenario, I would say that it does need to have what we call the vision, right? What is the ultimate promise that the business wants to accomplish? What is the reason for existing? What is it bringing to the world, to the customers, to the employees, to the vendors, to like the entire ecosystem that it serves or impacts? And I think that just knowing that, like really having that define, and having it be like the endless fuel that it's going to propel you forward, right? So with that, I did have some examples for you that I wanted to bring about real world, right? Like we have this different companies, and one example, Patagonia, I think it just was sold. But when they started, like it was really about revenue, but very quickly they started to pivot towards sustainability. And even if in the short term it was going to cost profit, like they knew that by doing so, in the short term they were going to lose. It was beyond what they wanted to do. They cared. And if you think about it, again, I'm not in the mine and I've seen some of the story, but let's think about what's happening with the poles and the global warming. And I know it's a topic that it's spoken about a lot, but the founder really took in to make that commitment. And then it was even supporting. I always thought that values help you in decision making, because if you have a value, and
Mhm.
there is values are like, they're not like they're how do you say, they're not, it's not optional,
Yeah,
right?
it's not.
Like it's non-negotiable, right? It's a non-negotiable thing, a value. If you stand for whatever equity or whatever that is, you
Mhm.
can't decide that at times you will be and at times you won't, right? You always need to be. And this is why they say you don't choose everyone, because we're not saints and we cannot have everything. But the ones that we do commit to, when
Mhm.
a time comes and business decisions need to be made, if it's part of your value, that's it. That's easy. There's
Yeah.
no way. There's no way you can be something or do something that goes against your value. So for me, this is, and again, it might look like purpose versus success. And by that, it like hints that they go against. From my perspective, they don't.
Of course. Yeah, I really did like about the example. I know that you have more there, but specifically from Patagonia, it's something that I am. So first of all, I'm a lover of Patagonia. Like I really do like it. And for me, it as you said, it goes beyond the brand and beyond everything. It's just more about how comfortable it is. And I am a person that really loves the nature. After choosing and after putting beside different brands, this one it calls to me not only because of obviously the material, but we can say about the vision and what the purpose that it has, right? What it actually fuels them. And in certain way, when I use it and when I consume it, it fuels me, it gives me purpose, and it goes that direction. So I do believe that's more than anything the main point that we want to make here today. It goes beyond what the traditional path and goals many people have, and for us to choose that we are doing it in a more authentic type of thing, right? Like you are living each day and you're giving each day to your business, to your company, to the overall goals and growth with a purpose that it's going to present, that it's not only going to stay there. And even it could be as we're going to reach this goal, but when you have that goal and when you start building your team, your mindset, your everyday efforts towards that goal, that is the layers that you're building up, right? That's what actually you are going to have after the goal is met, or maybe it's not. And even when you are failing, that's also a success, because it means that you're trying, it means that you're layering up your abilities, your different tools that you have, that you've had for a long time, and it's redefining those paths. Right now, when we think about what are our personal values and how am I aligning it with the sense of purpose of what I am doing, as you said, it's also letting go of the illusion of control. It's letting go the uncertainty and accept what we are doing today. It's focus on the impact that we're doing today. And we are going to prioritize the meaningful contributions that we're doing each single time that we are maybe giving an idea, right? Or we are collaborating with teammates. And even when you do reach the goal, it even feels, I'm going to say, better in a way, because you're doing it for something more, for something bigger, not only that single goal, not only that single metric that we're going to have. So first of all, I really want to say thank you for everything, for your time shared. Thank you for letting us know a little bit more about how do you measure success? How have you measured success for a long time now? And would you have, more than anything, I'm going to end up this session with one question. If you could say one single time, if you could share with us one time where you had to choose between the metrics that we talked about today, and how did you manage to change from the vanity metric, we could say, and give it a bigger purpose, something beyond it? Could you share with us a story like that?
Yeah, I think overall there have been times that, and again, this time the vanity metric wasn't necessarily one, but it was like a particular moment in my life career that the natural, I want to say natural, or the more the easy way, not the easy way, even like the way that everything around me said that should be the next step or success wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. So there are times when you do need to let stuff pass by, and regardless of how it might look, it doesn't matter that it might look that you have a lower title job, or that you are I don't know, like there's many people, like I'm going to give an example. Vanity metrics could even be the number of people reporting to you, like going from being or having a team of 10 people to being an individual contributor. If that is going to allow you to have more quality time with your family, or do this or do that, whatever that might be for you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not being successful. So yeah, that's what I would say. There is a difference from having goals. I think we all have goals, and those are very good to have. But also, I do think that having a purpose just goes.
Thank you very much, Diana, for being here with
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you very much again. I cannot say thank you enough, because I really think that after a while of working with you or for you, I have broadened my experience, and it has even got me to think, what is my purpose and how do I personally measure success? Am I going beyond it? And it's not only about, yeah, the goals that we have as a company, but then it goes beyond that. It goes, how am I building this for a longer term? And it definitely has to be thanks to you. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that.
If I might, I just want to close with something that I think that also you can have these moments at different time. For example, right now and in the role that I have right now, a big part of my purpose is to not judge any
Mhm.
situation and then be a builder. So every time, it doesn't really matter if whatever might happen, like if someone does something, like I'm always opening and lowering the judgment part. Like I'm not making any assumptions. I'm not getting with my mindset on how stuff is. I'm not doing any of that. And then I'm going around, how can we build from this? And that way I'm not shying away from any responsibility. If it's my fault, like really owning it, really all of these things. So if you're in the way of finding this, because at times it might seem so altruistic that it's not able to be real, I think it's closer than what we think. And I think it can be done in step by step. It doesn't need to mean that we have a grand purpose overall. It might be even like really mine is very simple right now. And it starts bringing for sure success. That's what I think. It's not conflicting. I actually think the opposite. Like by having and knowing how we want to be better and interact better and transform, we are able to get sooner to success, and success start meaning something different from us. So
Yeah, you're completely right. Thank you very much for joining us, for being with us today. Again, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for sharing with us your time. And I would truly appreciate it if you would give us a little bit about your own experience with success. How have you felt it? How have you defined it? And if you're still in the way of looking for it and understanding, how does it feel for you? I would definitely love to know a little bit about it and maybe have a conversation. So have a great day and thank you for joining us.
thank you.